Hello and welcome back to Infinity News. I'm your host Abdullah Kavish.
And I'm Sam Comack.
In today's top story, survivor of the Delhi carnage blamed the police and governing party leaders for the worst violence in decades that has left 42 people dead.
A 15-bed hospital located in the crowded lanes of Mustafabad in the northeast of the Indian capital, the hospital reports more than 600 people injured caused by this violence.
The unrest was triggered after week-long peaceful sit-ins in the New Delhi against the new citizenship law, which opponents say discriminates against Muslims and were attacked by Hindu nationalist mobs.
Parts of the capital descended into violence on Sunday after a politician of the ruling BJP, Amit Shah, warned Muslims against continuing with sit-ins or risk facing the BJP supporters' wrath.
Local journalists have posted on social media incidents where Hindu mobs demand they reveal their religion, including one photojournalist who was almost forced to drop down their trousers.
This is a method that is used to identify Muslim men in previous episodes of community violence in the Hindu majority nation. As families grieve for the deceased, we at Infinity would like to show solidarity to the injured and the families of the victims.
It's time for a short commercial break. Stay tuned as we invite a student staff member from the Cultural Center to talk about establishing a space for the international student community. Hello and welcome back. So, Meera Adamji, welcome to our set. And
Hello, thank you for having me here.
mhm. Would you like to tell people about why you're here today?
Yeah, I am here today to talk about an issue that's been going on for a few years now about international students needing a space just for themselves on campus. For a while now, international students have just been seeking a space that can just be for the international student community and not shared by anybody else because the needs for international students differ from domestic students of color or students of color in general. And we are hoping to create a petition with support from as many students as we can get, particularly international students, and hand it over to the administration so we can start the process of finding a new space and officially having a space for international students on campus.
Um, what potential spaces are you guys considering to convert into an international student space?
So at the moment, we were thinking of the space above the Dakin living room. At the moment, we're not sure exactly what other spaces are available to be used as a space for international students. So we're looking towards the room above the Dakin living room.
Mhm.
Hopefully, in the future, there would be more options available, but this is good to start with.
Could you explain to our viewers why the Cultural Center and the International Student Space need to be separate?
Yeah. So the cultural center has been designated a space just for students of color, and of course there are international students who don't identify as people of color or are not from countries where people of color are from. So it's important for the international student community who all have similar backgrounds coming to a new country to have a space just for themselves, and for the domestic students of color to feel comfortable and within their own boundaries as well, and not having like just basically two separate communities that feel comfortable by themselves.
Do you imagine this new space to be like a casual space or an office space or?
Oh, a totally casual space. Hopefully we'll have our advisors working in the space as well. We can have our monthly meetings there and just a space for our students to come and go. At the moment there are 32 international students on campus, so it's a small community, but in the future we're hoping the community will grow and the space can can grow and we can have a community.
The advisors that you mentioned, are these advisors new employees or are these advisors that are part of some other office?
So the advisors I'm talking about are part of the MIS team, which is the Multicultural and International Student Services team, and some of them have been working here for a while. Others are fairly new employees, but yeah, they're comprised of like 4 or 5 employees, and yeah.
Are there any other resources or anything that you feel international students would like while you have this platform?
Aside from this, a space just for international students to gather, we are fairly lucky with, I guess, the resources that we have been provided with. At least the advisors we know check in on us quite regularly, which is nice. And yeah, I wouldn't really say, aside from food security, which is a huge issue, but I think that's just for students in general, not just international students. Aside from that, I couldn't really think of anything.
So the international student space, what led you to this cause? Like, what made you fight for this cause?
It's just, this has been an issue for a few years now. A couple years ago, the Enfield, which is now the Muslim Students' Prayer Room, that room was supposed to be given to international students as an international student lounge, but the administration wasn't really complying, and international students were reverted back to the CC, and it's just, for a while now, the two communities have wanted their own spaces so that they can basically just thrive on their own, and we can all continue to work together and support each other, but just from two different spaces, because we all have different needs. And since this has been going on for a while, and since the label of the cultural center has changed now this semester, it's really important that international students have a space on campus.
Do you think this new space, the international student space, could in any way influence the admission rate or anything for potential prospective students?
Not in the near future. In the far future, as things progress and we develop a proper outreach for international students, we'll be able to advertise these things and advertise the resources that we will have in the future that we don't have as much right now. And so hopefully that will draw international students to Hampshire College, but at the moment it's starting small. Yeah.
Do you know if any of the other 4 colleges have spaces for international students?
So the other 4 colleges have much bigger international student populations, and I don't think they all have offices that are like the MIS team office that we have here, but I don't think that they have a space just for themselves, because they're such a big community. It's easy to get in contact with each other. But here at Hampshire, we aren't able to communally get together because we don't really see each other that often. Everybody's on their own schedule, and it's a small school, so.
And apart from that, do you think this new international student space could somehow, well, I won't say attract, but like reach out to community members beyond international students, like at Hampshire? Do you think do you see that happening in any way?
Yeah, totally. I mean, this space will be open for all students. It's just somewhere where international students can also gather together, but it'll definitely be open for everybody and whoever wants to come and hang out. It's should just be like a lounge, a chill space for students to hang out in, but just so that they know that they have that support, and that resource is also important for students, just to feel secure.
And also, how can other students support this effort? How can we support the cause?
Oh yes, so if you would send your responses and your names, any questions or concerns, to my email address, which is mira18@hampshire.edu, I would very much appreciate that, because I want to collect as many names as I can for a petition to hand over to the administration and eventually to Ed. So if anybody would like to respond, that would be great, with your name.
We'll try to have the email be in the description box or somewhere on the screen so students can reach out. And yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
to
Thank
our.
Well, you
you.
have my support, definitely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for stopping by and being a part of our show today.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
And stay tuned for Infinity Fridays.